7,000 rupees. That's roughly the amount of money each Indian effectively pays China every single year. And that number keeps rising. I will show you where that money is going and what we as Indians can do about it. And I will also answer the biggest question on every Indian's mind. Can India stop making China a richer country? India is already trying to conserve dollars amid the global energy crisis. The rupee has fallen to record lows against the US dollar, and the trade gap with China is widening too. Love it or hate it, we all use Chinese products. The laptop on your table, the cell phone in your hand, even the electric diyas you light on Diwali. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if China declared Diwali a national festival. The problem is India keeps buying more and more from China. But India's exports to China are far lower and the gap has become enormous. India's trade deficit with China has ballooned to a staggering $112 billion in 2025-2026. That converts to nearly 10,64,000 crore rupees. That's the highest trade deficit India has with any country in the world. And if you divide that by India's population, it comes to roughly 7,000 rupees per Indian. The obvious answer that comes to mind is stop buying Chinese products, right? In fact, it has happened in the past. Indians were furious at the Chinese and boycott calls have erupted more than once. Prime Minister Modi himself in May 2025 urged traders to stop selling foreign-made goods.
आप विदेशी माल नहीं बेचोगे, लेकिन दुर्भाग्य देखिए, गणेश जी भी विदेश से आ जाते हैं.
Now, do you also think boycotting Chinese goods alone is an effective solution? If yes, why hasn't it worked? Because you need alternatives to substitute any product that you want to replace. And India does not have a substitute yet for many Chinese products. And this might sound counterintuitive, but consumer products alone are not the problem. You heard that right. There's a much bigger reality behind India and China trade that many people don't know about. The answer lies not just in boycotting Chinese goods. Sure, you can avoid consumer products to some extent. However, Indian exporters too are dependent on several Chinese imports. Electronic components, industrial machinery, solar cells, manufacturing equipment. These imports from China are embedded in Indian production chains. And these imports create a structural dependence that is not good in the long run. Imagine running a medical store where 80% of your medicines come from one supplier, a single supplier. Now imagine that supplier is also your rival. Any disruption is risky both for your business and your customers. The same applies to India-China trade. The result today is that India's trade deficit with China is at an all-time high. Though India is not the only country on the list, US, UK, Germany, Mexico, Japan, Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, and many other countries also have trade deficit with China. That's exactly how China became the world's factory, the first country ever to generate a trade surplus of more than $1 trillion in a single year. So if boycotts alone won't solve the problem, what can India actually do? While India needs to rapidly scale domestic capabilities, the other solution is increasing exports to China itself. Niti Aayog CEO in October 2025 pointed towards it. If you are not able to sell much to China, it is pointless because it's an $18 trillion economy. But even increasing exports to China is easier said than done, and there are multiple reasons. First, Indian exporters do not get unfettered access to the Chinese market. Indian engineering goods, generic pharmaceuticals, and agri products all face non-tariff barriers. Second, China is also accused of creating language barriers for exporters. Finally, there's the factor of cost and scale. Many Indian MSMEs are no match for China's capacity because of higher per unit cost. So can India stop making China richer? The challenge for India is enormous. Consumers can do their bit, government will set the policy, but the heavy lifting must come from Indian industrialists. Indian billionaires need to step up. Selling ice creams and cola is one thing, creating space for India in global trade is another. We cannot wish away the trade deficit with China overnight, but we can certainly narrow it by avoiding Chinese goods wherever we can, diversifying supply chains, and increasing exports to China. Do you think India's rich are doing enough to empower India against China at the global level? Drop your thoughts in the comment section and share this with anyone who still thinks a Diwali boycott alone will fix the China problem. And don't forget to subscribe to GlobalOpEd. Until next time.